What does it really mean for an AI to think? Today, we're diving deep into Interview Angular. Testing. Testing is the interview line between I can build it and I can keep it alive. Angular testing matters because components, services, forms, routes, and HTTP calls hide failure behind a working demo. Unit tests in Angular are essential to catch bugs early. They help protect quality and allow safe refactoring. Importantly, testing ensures reliability in complex applications. More specifically, unit tests focus on individual parts of the code. Thus, they provide confidence during development and maintenance. But here's where it gets interesting. The demo is not the proof. The bottleneck is testing the wrong surface. Next, a component class test can miss template behavior. Importantly, dependency injection and async rendering are also missed. Thus, browser APIs and user flows are not covered. More specifically, Angular components combine TypeScript and HTML. Notably, serious tests often need the DOM host. Therefore, not only isolated logic is required. So what's the real problem? Let's talk about Pulp is the runtime contract. Angular code is not plain JavaScript. It runs inside dependency injection and change detection. This creates an isolated testing environment. It wires dependency injection for test services can be retrieved as in the real app. This is why interviewers ask about it often. Bills is the runtime contract for Angular. This raises a critical question. Replace chaos with controlled seams. Mock services model collaborators in a controlled way. Spies observe calls without relying on side effects. Fixtures expose the component DOM and change detection boundary. Async tests wait for stability before making assertions. A good Angular test is not a miniature app. It is a pressure chamber for one specific behavior. Angular provides tools to achieve this structure. Now let's zoom in on components must prove the view. Component tests should read like product promises. Create the component, set inputs or signals, trigger events, run detect changes, and assert what the user actually sees. The class explains intent, but the template proves the contract timing matters because stale views create false confidence. Angular, here's something most people overlook. Services reveal architecture. Pure services can be tested directly, but injected services need defibtas because providers and mock dependencies are part of the behavior. Importantly, Bulb handles tokens and injection for accurate testing. A serious candidate tests success, failure, and delayed values effectively. Notably, it also checks collaboration boundaries between components. Spies ensure code calls the right dependency without using the real system. Thus, spies validate interactions without affecting the actual implementation. Think about this for a second. HTTP tests catch production lies. A real network call is not a unit. A test, it's a dependency leak. Next, Angular's HTTP testing setup replaces the backend HTTP testing controller, expects requests, flushes responses, and verifies no unmatched requests remain. Importantly, this protects interceptors, auth headers, and error handling retries, refresh token flows. Angular 1 is the version being discussed here, and this is where things get complex. Forms and routes expose maturity. Forms testing involves values, validity, touched status, dirty state, pending status, custom validators, async validators, and submit guards. Next, routing testing covers parameters. Query parameters, guards, resolvers, redirects, and navigation outcomes. Importantly, Angular guidance recommends using real test routes and router harness navigation. Thus, avoiding fragile router mocks is preferred for more reliable testing. Notably, this approach aligns with best practices shared in the Angular blog. But here's where it gets interesting. E2E tests protect the journey. End-to-end tests sit above Angular internals. They check if a user can open the app and authenticate. Next, they verify if a form can be filled. and submitted. Importantly, they ensure the app recovers from errors. Angular defines E2E as validating the whole application. Thus, it's decoupled from implementation details. Cypress and Playwright execute that journey. Angular 2, Cypress 2. So what's the real problem? Let's talk about the senior signal. The future signal is testing literacy across runners. Angular CLI currently uses Vitis by default for new projects. Karma remains supported with migration, documented as experimental. Ing test, Coverage creates reports that expose untested regions. Senior developers use coverage with judgment. Importantly, they protect paths. Users cannot afford to lose. Angular 1 is the next step in this evolution.